Hello, good evening, Godwin. Hello, Melody. Hello, Molef. Hello, Zorgal and Swarupa. Okay, here we are in the third day. I've seen your names in the previous days, so I suppose you have been following everything. Hello, Alban. Welcome to the class. Hello, Funwell. Okay, so tonight we want to finish our project here. We want to make some new tests. We want to finish and let's go to the point. And this is never a bad idea to tell you. Please check if you are watching this class live by checking if the live button, actually the live signal is red. Okay. And please set the quality high as you can in order to see everything clearly. And this time, I know that you already have the databases, but this time, please just watch and take notes. In a second time, I recommend you to go back to the video and try to imitate what I am doing, okay? Perfect. So all these materials, if you are a student enrolled in the complete course, they are available on Hotmart already. Like Melody, I think you have already tried to download. If you need anything, you can let me know in the WhatsApp group, okay? And for the free students, you can also download, but only the databases and the backgrounds, okay? Not the editable files. And yeah, let's go. Let me advance here. You already know me. You already know what a Power BI project is and all the steps we use to develop the projects. Okay, and what we are doing, we have created the measures to calculate the hirings, number of hirings, the headcount, the layoffs, the bad hirings. Remember, we applied a filter to check if the person was hired and stayed for less than 60 days in the company. And then we classify this as a bad hiring. And then we calculated the salaries, the expenditure with overtime and absenteeism. Okay, all of this based in the transactions table, which we have the financial impact for all these dimensions. And tonight we are going to calculate the turnover, the percentage of turnover. Okay, so we are going to create a new measure and we are going to see a couple of new functions, of new DAX functions. Okay, and with this, let's check here what we want to accomplish in the end. First, to create a general view for the KPIs above. Yes, we have made this page dynamic, which you can select the measure you want to see in the charts, right? And now we are doing the second one, which is create visuals that allow a deeper analysis for absenteeism. And we have done this yesterday, right? And tonight we want to do this for the turnover. And we're going to create this new page, okay? And later we are going to see an extra page to visualize other useful information, some new things that we haven't explored yet, okay? So this way we will have robust visualization. Okay, so let's go back to our project here on Power BI and let me change my camera. Otherwise, you cannot see the entire screen. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you guys remember, I haven't changed anything since yesterday. Okay, so here we have the absenteeism page, and then I showed that you can explore and use the visuals to filter one and another. So for example, if I click here in Sick Note, I will filter all the other visuals. This actually is a highlight. If we want to filter instead of highlight, you need to click here in the Format tab. Of course, select the visual that you want to edit. In our case, we want to change this one, okay, this chart. And in this chart, we are going to click here in Edit Interactions. So now we can choose what's going to happen with the interaction from this to this one, for example. So here is the highlight option, and here is the filter option. And I want to filter instead of highlight. So I will give you one example. If I click here in Sick Note, this is highlighting, okay? This is a highlight. And if I want to filter, it will just filter and show only the values for Sick Note. I believe this is a better option, okay? I prefer filtering instead of highlighting. Okay, what else? Yeah, let me turn off the edit interactions here. So let's see, for example, for absence. Who is the biggest responsible for absence? Is the female category. Remember, if we see all the results, we see that male are more responsible. But here is the positive value, all right? And when we click here in absence, we see that female is minus 1,800 and male is 1,000 minus 1,200. Okay, what we can assume based on this? In comparison only related to the absence, the female are more representative. They are used to be more absent than the males. Yeah. However, the company is not paying for this. Yeah, but of course, absence is a bad thing, and we want to reduce this as well. Okay, absenteeism in general, it's a KPI we want to lower every month and every year. Okay, and here we have the age range. Okay, and what if we wanted to create a new chart to analyze the absenteeism with another category? We can do the same thing, the same dynamic that we have done here in the home page, for example. Like here, we created this, how can I say, this parameter. So let's do the same for this visual, okay? And here we have the comparison, the visualization of absenteeism by age rank, and let's add another type of visualization. So let's see, for example, for marital status. Yeah, this will be interesting. Okay, so to do this, we need to click in modeling, in the modeling tab, and let's create a new parameter, okay, based on fields. And let's select the age group. As we are going to change the y-axis, we need to inform first the age group, okay, that is this first one. The age group is in the employee table, and let's select here age group, and the other one is marital status, okay. And here let's insert a name for them, for this group, which will be parameters for employee, okay. And let's create. All right, and I will position this like here in the top. And let's change this format, this style to tile, okay, this one, and single select always. And okay, let's make these visuals to fit in the same space. All right. And if I choose here age group, this chart will show the age group. So I need to delete this age group from here. And now I need to bring this new parameter that we have created, okay? It will be shown here as a new table. So I drag and drop. And if I want to see now the marital status, here it is, okay? And then we can change this visualization. And we see that married people have a huge impact, okay? Let's see the delay, for example. Married people delay more often. Okay, another interesting analysis here would be by percentage, okay? All right, so with this page is now completed. Okay, let's proceed for the new one. Let's create here the new one, the turnover page. And before starting, I want to see some comments. Have you tried to start the project since Monday? Tell me your thoughts here. I want to see. Okay, I worked on part 2, but got stuck with blank message when I tried to create a card for salaries and overtime. Kindly advise. Okay, good question. So let's go back here. You mentioned it that you got stuck with a blank message when you tried to create the card. You mean that, for example, you created a card like this, and like let's say I am showing here the results for the salaries. So remember, the salaries, we only have data for 2020. So if I select here other years, the financial values will look blank, right? Is this the problem that you are facing? And to avoid, we know that this is not nice to show to the final user, uh, space written blank. Let's show zero instead, for example, or another thing that is not ugly like blank, okay? So you can select this measure, for example, like salaries, and in the end, if it's blank, let's sum zero. And now this is converted to a number, okay? And now it's a number. So this way, we're going to show this in a better way, in a better format, I mean. And here, let's add for overtime and absenteeism as well. Result plus zero, okay? So now instead of blank, it's showing zero, all right? And we can also format this. If you don't want to show zero like this, it's not very good looking. We can create a new specific one. Let me see if we choose currency here. If yeah, doesn't matter. Let's select the dynamic instead. Let me pick the salary measure and let's select dynamic. And when we select dynamic, we have here the format. Look, we can format this using DAX, okay? And here we have this pattern for formatting it. So for example, this first one is for positive values. The second one, I believe, is for negative values. So you can see when we have negative values, there is a parenthesis here and parenthesis in the end, okay? And the third one, uh, you got me. I don't know what's going to change with the third one. So let's see, for example, if we want to, uh, oh, I think the third one is for zeros. Okay, so let's check, for example, if it's a zero, let's just use uh, like this. Yes, exactly. The third one is for zeros. Okay, let me go back to 2020 to see. Yeah, perfect. So this third one, after the third semicolon, you can format the zero, okay? So let's go back to the zero here, 2019. And yeah, it's okay now. And we can even delete the money, the currency. Yeah, perfect. Now I like it, this one. And we can copy the same format for the others. Here, when we have the dynamic formatting for this measure, you can see that here we have the dynamic, and here we have the selection to see the measure or the format code. Okay, so we can copy this code and paste in the other measures. So, for example, I will paste in the overtime. Let's select here the overtime, and I will paste. Okay. Okay, and the third one is the absenteeism. Let's change here for dynamic as well. And once you select dynamic, this option to see the format or the measure will appear here in the top. Okay. All right. So now it's better looking. It's more chic. Okay, more refined. Well, so now let's see if we can start the turnover. Prof, I'm struggling with downloading the material. It says my email is already registered. What should I do? Okay, and now another person is also saying that. Okay, so to answer this, let me see. Uh, Please send me a personal question on a personal message on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn link is here in the description of this video, okay? And then I will personally send you the materials, okay? So please, Molef and Will, send me this personal message, okay? Okay, guys, remember to like this video if you are enjoying. I believe if you are watching here for the third day in a row, you must be enjoying this. Please hit the like button. So let's start importing here the image for the slide 4, which is the turnover. Select image fit, and transparency equals to 0, okay? And for the turnover, let's start playing around with this measure, okay? Let's call this percentage of turnover. Okay, I assume not everybody here is familiar with the turnover concept, okay? So I will give you this explanation. What is turnover? Turnover is a very important KPI for human resources, and with the turnover, we can check uh, how is the rate of uh, exiting of employees exiting the company. Okay, so we can measure if this turnover is high, and this means that there are a lot of people exiting, going out from the company. And in general, that's not good KPI if it's high. Okay, so in theory, we want to make this KPI very low. All right. Of course, it depends on which industry you are working with. So, for example, for consulting firms have a very high turnover. Let's say the lifespan of a consultant in one company is not very long. But if you check other professionals, I'm sorry, like the librarian. A librarian, I assume, doesn't change very often like a consultant. Okay, you go for this for many years in a row, and you must see the same people working the same library. So there are some jobs that there are more people coming in and going out more often, right? So that's what we want to measure. And of course, the turnover is going to depend on which uh, job title we have here. So we want to see this by position, like the manager, the assistant, the the workers in the production. Okay, so this will be important to check. And what is this formula, Tarcísio? To measure the turnover, we are going to calculate first the number of layoffs, which we already have, and we are going to divide by the number of employees that we had in the previous period. Okay, so for example, if we want to measure the turnover rate of this month, we are actually, let's talk about May because May already ended. So we want to measure the turnover rate of May. We're going to calculate how many people were working in the previous month. Okay, what is the last head count that we have? And then we are going to see how many people we fired in this month. And then we are going to divide the number of people who were fired by this last head count number that we have. Okay, so yeah, this number when you have is usually measured annually or quarterly, like Serdian has mentioned, and we are going to see a general measure to calculate this that is going to adjust to any period that you want. Okay, so without more, let's stop the talking and let's start doing it. So let's just type here what is the idea, what is the general code that we need. First, we need the head count. Okay, the head count of the last period that we have, of the last selected period. Okay, and the second part, we are going to calculate what is the number that of people that we have fired. So fired employees. Okay. However, to create a measure, we may have a certain exception. Okay, but yeah, let's start by doing this and let's see how it's going to be the result. So for creating these steps here with DEX, we are going to need some variables. Okay, so let's start with var. And the first one, I want the number of the head count, right? So let's call this last head count. And to check what is the last head count that we have, we already know that we have the head count measure, right? So if I call here the head count, we will get this head count. For now, I will just return. Remember, when you use variables, you always need return. So I will return this variable in a table just for you to visualize what we are calculating here, okay? Let me add this table and the percentage of turnover. And of course, when we talk about the turnover, we talk about the dates. So let me open the D calendar. And let's add the year and the month in the format of a matrix. Okay. So what we are seeing right now is just the head count. Okay. In this measure, I am returning the last head count. So yeah, you can see that in 2002, we finished the year with 4 people, 4 employees. 2003, we finished with 13. 2004 with 13 as well. We had many hirings during the year. However, the end result for 2004 is the same number, 13. Okay, so let's now see what is the next step here in the DEX measure. For checking the head count, it's okay. And for the layoffs, let's create another variable. Let's create here var, and let's call this layoff. And it will work in the same way, okay? In this case, we want the same measure, layoffs. And I will insert here for you to see, underline layoff. So here you can see that, for example, in 2003, we fired 2 people. Okay, we fired 2 people. I will bring these measures here to the right side, head count and layoffs. Yeah. Okay, so we can double check. And to calculate this, we are going to need the value for the previous day. So for example, if I want to calculate the turnover of 2003, I need to know how many employees we had in the year we ended, the year of 2002. Okay, because here we are talking about a period of 1 year, and in this period of 1 year we are going to see how many people we have fired and how many people we had in the end of the year. So we have a very cool function in DAX that is called previous day. So if I am in the first day of January, because this context here, this row, what it's saying is first day of January of 2003. Okay, this is the context. So we want to see what is the turnover rate for the 2003, and then for this I will need the value of the headcount in the 31st of December of 2002. So we are going to need to use the function called previous day. And to calculate this, of course, I will use the calculate function, and I will call the function previous day. And when we are talking about dates here, we usually use the D calendar, and we are going to call the D calendar table date column. Okay, so let me present this last headcount result for you. And then you can see that, for example, here for 2003, we are returning the number 4 because we ended the year of 2002 with 4 employees. Okay, let's see the next year. In the next year, we are returning 13 because we ended the last year with 13. Okay? And why I told you that this will work with any period, because if we have here the month, for example, this September, if you want to measure this by month, you can check what was the value in August, the last value of August. Okay, this will work in the same dynamic, getting the previous day. All right. Okay, so for the layoff here, we don't need a variable. I just wanted to create to make the example. So I will already call this result. And to calculate this result, we are going to divide the number of layoffs. Okay. Well, remember that the layoffs, we have the negative value. So here I will insert a negative before. So we can see it's going to make the signal positive, okay? And let me see. Now we are going to divide this by the last head count. Okay. And if we have any problems, I want to return 0, okay? And oh yeah, of course, we need to return the result. So now, remember, this is a percentage. Let's format this as a percentage. And let's see. Let's see what we have here. All right. So here we have 50%. Let's check. Let's check. We are dividing which values here? We are dividing -2. No, actually 2. We fired 2 people, and we had 4 in the beginning of this period. Actually, the total of 2002, I'm sorry, was 4. So 2 divided by 4 equals to 50%. Okay? And you can see that we have many blank rows here. These rows, we don't have any result. Yeah, we already have the annual result, okay? However, we don't have the monthly result. Why? Because this function here, let me see, this last head count is not returning some values every time. It's not returning some values every time. So, for example, here, let's see, when we try to find the last value, actually, I'm sorry, the previous value of 2002, Power BI is not finding anything. Okay, it's not finding anything. And we have an alternative to do this. As we have a colleague here who suggested this should be measured annually or quarterly, and we wanted to make this bulletproof. You can leave like this, or you can use another DEX function. Let's create another variable here to make this example. And we can call this the non-blank last head count. And in this no blank less head count, we're going to use a function called coalesce. Coalesce. This function is going to return the first argument that does not evaluate to a blank value. What does it mean? It means that when we try to get the previous day value, and if we find a blank, Power BI will continuously look for a value, okay, until the point that it finds one. So if we use this with, oops, if we use this with the last head count that we have, and we say, look, you're going to check the value, we are going to evaluate this variable, this calculate function that we have, until the point that you don't have any other value, you will look for the original head count. Okay, and then here we need to substitute this one by this one. Oops. Okay, let me format this. Yeah, we still don't have the correct values here. Let me check. Yeah, we are still missing this one because we had 14 employees. And oh yeah, oh actually the problem was this one. It was this one, the number of layoffs. We didn't have any layoff. Oh yeah, so of course in this period the percentage of turnover is zero. Is zero. Yeah, actually I am wrong here in this case because the layoff is off. But the other this other function that we have added is going to create this let's say certainty that every time Power BI will look for a value, yes or yes, it will find a value for the head count. Okay, so that's it. And now we have all the values, and let's format this for 0 decimal places. Okay, we have the full list here, but let's check a better visualization for all of this, okay? Let's change this. Let me see. Uh, yeah, I believe it would be interesting to show the number of hirings and the layoffs. It will be interesting. And of course, the number, yeah, of hirings we don't have here. Let's change this order. So the first one is hirings and no, I'm sorry, headcount, hirings, and then layoffs, and then percentage of turnover. Here in the percentage of turnover, it would be nice to add a bar with a conditional formatting. So let's include a data bar, and in this data bar, let's apply to values and totals. I believe the minimum will be 0, right? The minimum is 0. And the maximum value, I believe, would be like 200%. So it's 2. And if it's positive, let's pick the color palette here. For turnover, maybe this orange. It will never be negative, okay? And let's hit OK and see. Okay, yeah, actually the result, this total is for the entire period of the 18 years of data, okay? So the turnover, of course, is very high because it's considering the entire period. In talking about the period, I forgot to add here the slicer with the dates. Okay, and let's sync the slicer for all the pages. Yeah, let's sync. So it's synchronized. Okay, and after this, now we can create other visuals, right? So we have other options of chart. I will copy the charts from the other page. So instead of absenteeism, now let's show the percentage of turnover, okay? And you can see that for analyzing the turnover, you need to pick a shorter period, okay? So let's pick 2016 compared with 17, okay? So this way we can have a better idea, and this type of analysis will be more useful instead of comparing all the years. Okay, it doesn't make sense. All right. And what else? Maybe by job title. Job title would be interesting as well. So let's bring this by job title. Where is it? The employee. Okay. And here, remember, as I told you in the first day, we have an axis with the age range, age group. So it's important to sort the age, okay? Don't make this like from the highest value to the biggest one. Don't do this. Okay, I believe this one is more important. And of course, yeah, let's position this. And of course, let's change the color. We cannot forget about this. And it's fine. And remember, if you have more years selected here, the list will become longer, but doesn't make sense to compare all these years in a row like this all together, okay? If you want to explain the reasons of a high or low turnover, you gotta select uh, like 2 years to compare, okay, or 3 years, and then you can have better insights. And just like we have done with the absenteeism, let's bring the smart narrative, I'm sorry, the key influencers visuals, okay? So let's bring the key influencers, and let's make this a little bit larger, and let's analyze the percentage of turnover. And here, let's bring the fields that is going to help to explain this turnover. So the job title makes sense, the age group, the genre, the grade level, marital status, the nationality. What else? The the contract. Yeah, of course, like the contract type, the reason for leave. That's interesting. The retention. No, the retention is not a cause. The retention is a result. And what else? The schedule is important. The type of leave, if it's spontaneous, active, or passive. Mhm. What else? The category. Let's see here in the event. The category. Let's see. let's see what Power BI is presenting. Mm, so what influences the percentage of turnover to increase? When the age group is 55 plus, the average of turnover increases by almost 80%. Yeah, that's going to ring a bell, right? When you have older employees, the turnover here is going to be higher. Okay, so this may happen for directors and sellers as well. And let's enable the counts. Let's see what is the biggest with counts initiated by employer without just cause is the main reason for leave. Okay, so this in general uh, is the scenario that we do not want because it's when we are not satisfied with the performance of the employee and then we just fire the person. Okay, it would be interesting to investigate later the profile of the just cause. I'm sorry, the without just cause firings. Okay, to help understand this kind of issue. And married people here, there is a high counting compared with single, but this uh, doesn't mean doesn't necessarily means that uh, this is bad because maybe most of the companies, the big majority, most of the employees, I'm sorry, are married. So this is not like a bad warning, but we gotta check this, okay? Yeah, so let's go back here. For example, in the general headcount, let's see the married people. Yeah, we don't have this visualization here, so we can create one very quickly here. Let's click in view. Uh, I'm sorry, modeling, new parameter, and let's add the employee genre and marital status. Okay, so we can compare. Let's select the tile. Okay, and let's position right here. And don't forget to change in the visual this new parameter. So the marital status, oh, and let's select a single select. Yeah, actually, in this case, our company during these 3 years, it's kind of well balanced. Married people is not, it's like 140 and single 119. So it's not that different, the number. So yeah, this could mean that for married people, we can say that their turnover is higher. So let's see what makes to decrease. Uh, okay, intern doesn't we don't care that much for turnover. Mm, marital status is divorced. For divorced people, the turnover is lower. Uh, uh, yeah. Well, someone asked here, yeah, about the turnover of 223% because the period was very large, okay, in that comparison, in that calculation. I believe you are watching with a little delay between what I'm saying and what you are seeing, okay, what you are watching. Yeah, so, okay, now we can stay here making many analyses and it would be nice to add some slicers as well, okay, to compose these analysis. Like, for example, if you want to filter from here the marital status, It's nice. A vertical list without header. No, actually a drop down. Without background, it will look cooler. Okay, so if we want to analyze only for single and married people, we can do this, okay? It's going to be interesting. And we can copy and paste this in the other pages and synchronize, okay? Keep them synchronized. And you can add others, like, let's see, if we want to filter the age group would be interesting. Okay, and I will paste in the other pages. And now let's start investing some time here to add the buttons. So let's click in Insert, Buttons, and a blank button. Okay, buttons and blank button. So here we are going to add the buttons in the menu. This button, let's edit the style. So here, without border, without icon, what you can do to make it an effect, like when you pass the mouse over, is on hover here, the state on hover, you can add a fill effect, like this blank with, or maybe purple to match. Yeah, with 80% transparency. No, 50% better. And when you select the default, you make this 100% transparent. Okay, like this. So when you pass the mouse over, it changes. And let's add the action, which is page navigation, and to the cover. Now, let me copy and paste for the general and for the absenteeism and for the hirings, okay? The hiring page, let's create this one, hirings. Okay, here let me change the destination, absenteeism, and general is the general, okay? And hirings, okay. Only in the turnover, it's going to be empty here, okay? And we gotta do the same for the others. As we don't have absenteeism here, I will bring to the turnover, and destination is turnover. And now let's bring to the general. And here we don't have the general, but we have turnover. And in the hirings, let's add the canvas background. Slide number 5, zero transparency. And here we don't have hirings, we have turnover. Perfect, okay? So to navigate, you gotta use the control key of your keyboard, and then all the buttons are going to work, okay? Let me paste just to get one button for the general. Yeah. And here I want to add a slicer, okay? If the user wants to already filter the period, so we can come back here, synchronize, and add this slicer. okay, for filtering in the first page. So let's get started. And then we are in the home page. We go to the absenteeism. We go to the turnover. And just one observation, the absenteeism is empty because here we don't have data for 2018, okay? Only for 2020. We have turnover and we have hirings, finally, the last one, okay? And to analyze the hirings, we can explore the decomposition tree, for example, that we haven't used much in the course, in these classes. Actually, we haven't. Uh, so we want to decompose a few KPIs, a few KPIs. Let's see. We can bring the same parameter that we have, the same slicer from the general to here. Okay, and yeah, we can synchronize. And let's see. This is the general measures. So we can analyze the headcount here, or the hirings, or the layoffs, the bad hiring, the salaries, and so on. Okay, so now we are going to add some fields to explain by. We're going to explain these measure here, the general measures that we select. So for example, if I want to deploy this number of 248 people by the job title. Let me bring the job title, actually the abbreviated job title. And then we can bring here the job title, okay? And then we can add another level, like for example, the genre, and we can go further one level. Out of these 49 operators, we had 26 male and 23 female. And then we can go to another level, like the marital status, or the age group, or the nationality, and so on. Another interesting thing, let's see. We are analyzing the headcount, which is from the contracts table. Yeah. So we can analyze the schedule, we can analyze the retention, we can analyze the what else? The type of leave. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. So for example, let's select here layoffs. And in the layoffs, I want to see what is the highest value that we can get. Oh, actually, layoffs is not the highest because it's a negative value. It's minus 600. So yeah, let's get the lowest value, which is the most significant, is uh, by nationality equals to South African. Yeah, if our company, most of the people are from South Africa, this doesn't mean a lot. Let's go to another level. Uh, Instead of the nationality, yeah, I will delete nationality. Let's bring the lowest value, which is the schedule. Okay, so more people working from 8 to 6 p.m. Monday to Thursday, and then 8 to 5 p.m. on Friday. Yeah, administrative part of the company. So let's keep drilling down this, and we find that most of them were male, and most of them were the passive leave. Uh, what else we have here? And the retention was between 60 and 365 days. Yeah, between 2 months and 1 year. Okay, so it would be interesting to load the list of these people, okay, to check, for example. So we can add another interesting function here, the drill through, the drill through. So we are going to create a new page, and then imagine that in this new page you can load this list of all these employees that we are analyzing here. So let's create this new page called employees. Okay. In this new page of employees, we want to add the slide number 6. And this page will be kind of hidden. Okay, you can only reach by drill through. Okay, so here we have the employees. Uh, and let's add a table with the employee data. Okay, and then we have the employee code. We have, oh, let's get this from the employee table. We have the employee ID, the employee name, the genre, the grade level, marital status, the reason for leave, the type of leave, and the retention. Okay, and then we have the retention. Okay, it's a little bit too long. Let's make this employee ID shorter. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah, let's delete the third one, doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so here we have, and now we are going to add the fields here in the add drill through fields here. Okay, so we are going to drag and drop the fields that we want to filter this employee. So for example, when we are filtering this employee here, this will be enabled because Power BI will see. For example, you are visualizing this certain data, this certain field. I allow you to drill through. I allow you to go to the next level because we are adding these fields here. So basically, we need to bring the same fields like the abbreviated job title, the age group. Oh, I'm sorry, it's from the other table, the employee table. We want the age group. We want the employee, of course. We want the grade level, the genre, the marital status. We want the retention. Yeah, retention. Where is it? In the contracts, retention. We want the reason for leave and the type of leave, right? Let's see if it's going to be enabled already. Yeah, you can see that when I pass the mouse over the chart, Power BI already suggests to right-click to drill through, okay? So if I right-click and drill through, we can go to the employees. So here is the list. Let's check. Here it says that we have 162 employees. Let's get this full list. I will export this data. Let's export a list of employees. This was for layoffs, right? Yeah. Let's check if we have 162. Guys, until this point, are you with me? Tell me yes or no. We have reached 1 hour of class. So let's check. And here we have the 162 employees. So every time your manager says, okay, cool visual on Power BI, now export this into an Excel file. That's the biggest, the most important thing for them. Export this to Excel. Now it's easy, okay, for you. And then you can export this, the full list of employees. And remember, when you have a drill through, Power BI automatically brings a back button. This back button right here. Let's make this white. Because once you get into this page, you need to go back now, okay? And then you can analyze all the other fields as well. So yeah, let's do another test. Let's do here the head count by the highest value. Look, more than 300, more than 1 year. All these employees are working for the company. Type of leave, spontaneous. We have more males working, and most of them were 35 to 44. Okay, now our manager asks us to give him or her a list of all the female employees because we want to check if the females have a long record of staying in the company. Okay, so let's go back here. I want to check the layoffs, and then let's select by genre, and let's pick the female, right click, drill through, employees. So now we have the full list of 187 female employees, okay? And then we can uh, analyze them, share with other departments, and so on, okay? Just one example of this application for you guys. Okay, tell me here if you have liked it. Tell me here if you think this is going to be useful. In this class, I talked not only about the technical aspect, but we also we explored the visuals. I showed some interactions, right? So you can tell me. Did you learn something new? Oh, and let's bring all the slicers for the hirings page. Let me see. Yeah, let's bring all the filters here. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we have the dashboard with all the pages. We have, oh, let's uh, hide the employees page because it's supposed to be reachable only via drill through. Okay, perfect, perfect.